Coming up on All About Android this week, we talk with David Ruddock from Android Police. He joins us. We discuss all the device announcements from IFA 2019 in Berlin. Also, Pixel 4 buzz, especially in light of today's iPhone announcements. The confusing state of Android Auto. I review the JBL Link Bar and the Subwoofer, and a whole lot more coming up next on All About Android.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Plex. With Plex, you can organize and stream your personal collection of movies, TV shows, music, and photos anywhere on any device. Plex is offering Twit listeners a 30-day free trial of Plex Pass, which gives you access to all their premium features. Go to plex.tv/twit and enter code TWIT to start your free trial today. And by PayPal Credit. If you're purchasing new tech devices or booking upcoming travel, use PayPal Credit and enjoy 6 months special financing on purchases of $99 or more. Learn more and apply now at paypal.com/twit. Subject to credit approval, minimum monthly payments required. And by DoorDash. DoorDash connects you to your favorite restaurants in your city. Get $5 off your first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter promo code Android. Welcome to All About Android, episode 437, recorded on Tuesday, September 10th, 2019. Your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
And I'm Ron Richards.
And I'm Florence Ion.
Oh, yeah. We are here and ready to talk some IFA.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Apple event, and I was like, no.
No, that's a different show. Joining us to talk about IFA,
yes.
or whatever you want to call it, David Ruddock, returning to the show from Android Police. How you doing, David?
I'm doing well. I was there. I was at the thing.
How jet-lagged are you? I'd like to know.
I was supposed to fly to China on Friday, so I actually haven't been trying to sleep regularly, and now I'm not flying to China on Friday. So my schedule is all fun right now with sleep.
Your weekend just opened up. You're like, yeah.
I've been up from 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. and then 6 a.m. forward today. So it's been a real wild ride.
So is this like the last thing before you pass out?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
This is going to be an
where the night
interesting
takes me.
So how do you pronounce it, IFA or IFA?
I like to say IFA because I'm paying.
You're one of those. You're one of those.
Yeah.
There it is.
You like to stretch it out and take longer to say
it's
things.
It's like CES. You don't pronounce it CES, although
That's
it is
true.
a cesspool.
It is.
That's good. I haven't heard that one before. Yeah. I'm surprised I haven't heard that one before.
You know what? I coined it. TM.
All right, good.
I had to laugh because on HBO, The Deuce came back, season 3, and the first episode they were at CES because it takes place in 1984 when VCRs are taking off and that sort of thing. And I was watching, and they said CES, and I cringed. And my wife was like, what? I'm like, you don't understand. If you haven't been to CES, you don't understand.
It's like numb.
Yes, exactly.
It's like, I want CES to spill into my entertainment. That's not fair. It's
Go away. Hey, before we get into the news, I thought I'd mention, David, you reviewed the Note 10 Plus last week. I, as well, reviewed it last week, but I'm curious to hear your kind of abbreviated review. What did you think of the phone?
It's too big.
Big.
Huge. Okay. So, Jason, I think maybe it's the right size.
Yeah, it works for me.
Yeah, I think that's, I think if you are a person with large hands, maybe the Note 10 Plus is a good phone for you. For me, I'm trying to use my phone in bed, check email in the morning, drop it on my face. It's fallen out of the pocket in my shorts. It barely fits in the cup holder in my car. It's just presenting all of these, the phones have gotten so big that this one is taken it to an extreme. Also, the edge rejection on this phone, if you're not using a case, it's impossible. I can't even use the camera on it because what happens is I'll go tap the shutter button and it thinks one of my fingers on the corner is trying to do a zoom gesture. And so it's I had so many problems with that. Granted, if you put a case on, it's not that big a deal. It's $1,100. I don't know if I want to recommend a phone halfway through the phone update cycle. Samsung's going to come out with the S11 in 5 months and it's going to be better. in pretty much every way.
I was going to say, it still won't have Android 10, maybe.
Yeah. But isn't it like the Note? We talked about this a lot before. Note users are Note users, and Galaxy S users are Galaxy S users, and then never the twain shall meet, right? Like, aren't there a loyal upgrade path for people who had the previous versions of the Note?
I think there's for people who really do like the Note, sure, go for it. I think if the stylus is not something that makes you happy, don't buy it. Just don't. I don't think it's a good idea. If you want the stylus, it's great. You're going to be happy. Also, if you're one of those people that, like, I don't know, maybe scored a Pixel 3 for like $500 at some point, and Samsung's offering you $600 to trade it in for a Note, well, I mean, that's probably a good idea. You'll probably at least break even at the end of the day on that. Like, your Note's going to sell for more when you sell it next year if you want to upgrade again. So there's that. But I mean, just like MSRP wise, I can't recommend them, because the S11 is going to come out. It's going to have better cameras. It's going to have a newer processor. It's just going to be better in most ways. And I think it'll get all the great stuff that makes the Note 10, interesting. So it'll get the time of flight camera. I wouldn't be surprised if the S11 has like some kind of secure face unlock thing. It'll get faster charging. It'll probably get more storage. It will have a big screen. I just think that, it's better to wait. If you're just a person who wants to buy a new smartphone right now, a new Android smartphone, and you don't find the Pixels interesting, you should wait till the S11. And you should just wait.
I agree with pretty much everything you just said. I think in my review, really what stood out for me is like, you got to really enjoy the stylus for this to be something that you have to get, and otherwise really ask yourself whether you need it. You might have noticed that my phone has been locked on a certain thing.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
I have this LED case that every time you snap it on or snap it off, it's like the phone communicates with it to send whatever the current like LED design is on the back, whatever. Totally, not useful at all. I mean, really, it's just like, hey, when I set it down on its face, I get a little LED pattern that shows up here. But if I ever try and remove the case, sometimes this happens where it just gets locked. And even if I try and do like a hard restart, like I think the only way I'm going to get out of this is to do a full like. I think
your phone is crying.
Yeah, it really is. It's pretty sad right now.
Wow.
So I'm just going to go ahead and hold this power button down until it forces it off.
Quality control.
Which maybe isn't going to happen. I hope it happens by the time the arena rolls around. I'm still holding it down, and it hasn't powered off.
I think
yet.
it's usually 20 seconds to do the hard reset.
Okay, well, we'll see if that happens, and if it doesn't,
hold on, Jason.
I know I'm still holding. I'm not convinced that it's going to. This sucker could just like deplete to 0 before I'm able to get back into it.
Wow,
and all
it's definitely been 20 seconds.
All because I removed the case. That's all I did.
How could you?
That's all I did. I did nothing wrong here.
I just noticed this.
Yeah.
Did we get a new lower third?
So, okay, we have a new interim.
I noticed a decapitated Android head, which is the new logo.
Yes, we have a new interim logo with the decapitated head, thanks to Victor.
It follows the style guide.
It follows mostly. Yes. It follows the style guide. Our green is not the same green that Google put out. And I think that the lettering is the old lettering. We will be getting a fully redesigned logo.
I noticed it. I just felt it needed to be called out.
Can we do a special about our branding update?
Yeah, we should do an interview with ourselves about the branding update.
That'd be great.
That'd be excellent.
Tell me about your colors.
Yeah.
Basically Google's. That's the answer.
Right.
All right, I was able to reset my phone. The world's not on fire anymore. Why don't we? Well, that at least in this case. Let's jump into the news, Victor.
No need to reset anything else other than new news for Android News.
Yep. Every week we reset the news and we come up with new news for use. For all use out there. Pixel 4 leaks coming in strong. Few new things to notice about this. I feel like, it's every year it's the same. We just know every stinking thing about this damn phone. And that's no surprise, at least. Assistant is going to be able to step in for you while you're on hold, apparently. And notify you when a human is on the other end. I feel like this is weaponizing what we're already being weaponized against. It's like, we're going to put you on hold and make you wait. Oh, yeah? Well, I'm going to put your hold on hold and make you wait. Which I can get behind that. That sounds fun.
Here's the thing about this. Between this functionality and the whole call in, make a reservation for you and all that sort of stuff, we're getting very close to Star Trek computer do stuff for me world.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like it seems as if Google's the only people who are picking up the baton on that and making that happen. Where you're like, Google, book a reservation for me and let me know when that operator comes back when I'm not on hold anymore. Like I like it. I'm for it.
Personal assistants better watch out. Their jobs are about to be automated.
Yeah.
So I was actually on hold the other day, believe it or not, and found a situation in which this would not work. So I was on the reservation line for Air China, and they do this wonderful thing when you're on hold. They play the music, and then it breaks, and it says, unusually high call volume, blah, blah, blah. If you want to stay on the line, press 1.
If you want to stay
on,
press 1. Oh, no.
Otherwise, it'll hang up on you.
Wow.
So clearly
intense.
they don't want people just passively to be able to stay on the hold line. And I was still on hold for like 45 minutes.
Oh, and you had to keep pressing that button?
How often did it make you do that?
Every 2 to 3
what frequency?
minutes.
Oh my God.
It was truly like sadistic.
Do you really want help? You really want to change your reservation? You really want to go through this process?
How much do you want to talk to us?
Yeah, exactly. You got to work for it.
Are you willing to push this button every 2 to 3 minutes just to talk to us? Oh,
yeah, which is why every call center, they should just use the callback system where you call the number and like, hey, do you want to? There's a bunch of people. You want to just call you back when we're around? Well, duh. Yeah, just do that.
Yeah. Absolutely agree.
I had to call my bank. I had to call my bank the other day, and it's like, "Hello, blah blah blah," and I'm just like, I just yell, "Agent, operator." You like yell all those words to break out.
You just keep pressing 0.
You're just like, oh, it's awful.
I've fallen in. I can't get up.
Right. Emergency. Other updates include updates to night mode, so the ability to take shots of the night sky, the nighttime sky, with greater results without the need for a tripod. Apparently. I'm very curious to see that. I actually took a pretty decent, I thought, starry night sky shot a couple of weeks ago when I was backpacking. That required me to like prop the phone up and leave it perfectly still and use night mode. And it took like 10 seconds to go through its thing. And still in the end, it was just a bunch of tiny little white dots. But it was still, and it looked decent, I thought. Also a new motion mode for the camera for fast moving sports action shots. I don't know what that means. I think this 9 to 5 Google article points out sharp foreground, blurry background, which we have in other facets of smartphone photography. But I guess when objects are moving quickly, maybe that's more difficult to do, and this would hopefully improve that. That's some of the camera features. David, you posted earlier today about the upcoming Pixel 4, and, of course, today was Apple announcement day.
I'm sorry, today was what?
There's this company called Apple, and they announced their iPhone 11 and all that stuff. You seem like you're excited for the new devices, but you're still resigned to the fact that the Pixel as a brand is doing pretty poorly. What are your thoughts?
It is. And so, I mean, the thing about the Pixels right now is what we know is the Pixel 3 sold worse than the Pixel 2, which was revealed on Google's earnings call earlier this year, which is very bad. Right. And we also know Google switched up its strategy this year. So it released a budget-friendly version of the Pixel 3A and 3A XL. And the thing about those phones, number one, was that they took what was the Pixel 3's like core selling point, really, to me, which is takes great pictures real easy, except when the camera freezes and won't start for like 10 seconds. But, that basic core competency. And like, well, yeah, it takes the same good pictures, except it costs half as much. And that, to me, showed, that the Pixel team had pulled back on its philosophy that the Pixel brand is premium, period, which is what Rick Osterloh posited when the original Pixel phones were announced. Pixel is premium. And obviously, Google has kind of sidestepped on that and said, well, Pixel is also semi-premium now. And there's that fact. And so with the Pixel 4 coming out, we're going to have some new photography features, as we've seen leaked, like the enhanced night sight mode, sports shot thing, which I hope plays like a 90s video game sprite noise when you switch to it and the crowd goes, ah! But that would be cool. And I think we'll see the hybrid zoom that we've seen demoed. XDA had a post about that. Could do up to 8x hybrid optical zoom. So it would combine digital and crop and all that kind of stuff, probably dual sensor data and all kinds of other really cool machine learning algorithm-y things that Google is really good at. Because that's really what they specialize in. At this point, that is what separates Google smartphones, in my mind, in a technological sense, from the competition. But it's not clear that all of these benefits Google is bringing are actually resonating or that important to customers. They're really, I mean, in the grand scheme, they're incremental. As a device, the Pixel is still, it's a smartphone. It does all of the things a smartphone does, but it's not being advertised, it's not being distributed, and it's not being incentivized in the way an iPhone or a Samsung phone is. So with the Pixel 4, sure, Google's going to bring some new things to the table. First thing is that probably a lot of those cool camera features are going to Pixel 4a next year, because Google said, they're committed to doing the dual release thing for at least a little while. So we're going to see a Pixel 4a. So you're going to see a bunch of cool camera stuff come to the Pixel 4a from the Pixel 4 probably. And the other part of it is, to me, Google is going to announce all these cool new assistant features, like all the new the new hold music thing, probably some other AI powered stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if we see an update to the Google, like basically the automated, what's it called, Duplex, that adds some new features. But we'll probably see a lot of this go to Android One. We'll see it go to other Android phones. Next generation assistant, for example, which Google has said requires more powerful AI hardware, essentially, a more powerful set of DSPs to work. Undoubtedly, we'll see that debut on the Pixel 4. I can all but guarantee when the Pixel 4 launches next month, Google is going to talk about the next generation assistant, how it does all the language transcription on device. It's instantaneous. It can do all these crazy commands. And I mean, that I/O demo they gave the next gen assistant was like Star Trek, like Ron said. That awesome. Is what Google is going for. Like everybody in the crowd went nuts when they were doing it, and it worked. And that's what I want. That's what I want them to do. They should be doing that stuff, right? But I'm just not convinced that the smartphone buying public cares.
That's what I just don't.
I just don't know. And the other side of it is, well, Google inevitably will release it to partners because that's what they do. They want everybody to use the Google products. Mm-hmm. They're not going to be like, no, we're going to selfishly guard this for our phones that don't sell very well. It wouldn't make any sense for Google as a company. Business. It doesn't serve their interests. Yeah. So it's hard for me to see an angle for the Pixels to really break through in a big way in the marketplace without Google, really digging deep in its pockets in a way that would probably only enhance the antitrust attention Google is currently receiving. Yeah. Google would just have to subsidize its phone business in such an aggressive way that it would probably get the attention of people Google is not looking to get more attention from right now. But I just don't see another way for the Pixel brand to really break through. They've got the carrier partnerships now. I'm just not convinced that they're going to be able to do enough to really unseat Apple or Samsung in a meaningful way.
Yeah, or when that could even possibly happen, I'm not even sure. You're right. But I feel like Google has increased their promotional presence. They have the carrier partnerships. They've done a lot of the things that in the past couple of years, as things haven't worked for them, we've all been saying, what they really need to do is this. They've done those things, yet they're still here. I think you're right.
Sorry. But I was going to say, I feel like the promotional presence has more to do with the assistant than it does with any of the phones.
Right.
Right. Well, because the assistant is the phone. That's kind of what they've done now, right? Or the phone is the assistant.
That's the main selling point.
What I think is even more interesting, and why I think it's premature to make this call, is that I think you need at least another. I want to see how the Pixel 4 and then the Pixel 4a rollout goes, because and I said it for years, and I think that I'm glad they finally embraced it. You want to build an aspirational upgrade path. And just keep, rolling out $1,000 phone after $1,000 phone isn't going to break through. You need the $300 to $500 phone to get people into your ecosystem. And then when you get the 20-something who buys the 3A, and then they get a job and they get a promotion, and then maybe the Pixel 4, maybe the Pixel 5, then they upgrade to, there's that growth path. They haven't cultivated that yet, and they're just starting to cultivate that. So I think, David, I see a lot of the points you're making, but I say don't count them out yet. I think you see where we are in 2 years from now, see where we are when the Pixel 5 and the 5A comes out. And I think what you'll see is a larger footprint as customers grow with the brand.
I think that's definitely possible that we'll see some growth. I'm just not sure how much we're going to see in the near term. Google has said that they expect it to take 5 years to really grow the brand, and we're past the halfway mark now. And they slid backward last year, and that wasn't good. Yeah. And I also think that the other thing is, one of the things that we see often posit now, especially in the US, is that people are keeping their phones longer than ever because their phones are staying better longer than ever. Mm-hmm. And for me, as somebody who reviews smartphones, if I'm going to recommend like a phone to a family member and I'm saying if it's $1,000 phone, if we're talking about a premium device, I'm going to say, well, honestly, you should probably buy an iPhone because A, you can get the battery replaced when it starts to basically when the cycle life degrades. Repairing it is relatively affordable and easy to do. It's easy. That's the thing. You can take it to an Apple store. You can take it to a third-party shop, wherever you want to go. An iPhone is easy to fix, and you can buy a extended warranty and everything. And Apple will give you OS updates for probably almost 5 years. There is no other Android phone that even comes close to that. So for me, like Google's promise to do 3 years of OS updates, for example, that's getting somewhere. That's getting to a point where support is more prioritized. But think about today, like if you have a original Pixel phone, where do you get the battery replaced? Are there batteries? Like how many are there? Who will do this repair? Even a Pixel 2, like who's going to do that? Or replace a screen. Google's had so many issues just getting like repair parts made available. Like they just run out sometimes. There are all these like customer support issues, and Google's customer support is already bad as is. So to me, if Google wants to build a reputation as an aspirational smartphone brand, they need to really pick up their game on the back end, because right now it's worse than I would say Samsung in some respects. And honestly, companies like OnePlus, which are just scrappy, tiny little startups compared to Google, are really giving them a run for their money in that regard too. It's just they're just getting better. So I think Google as a service provider for a smartphone isn't very good. In terms of the software services, they're good, but in terms of being a customer service and support provider, they're not. And Apple really is justifying to some extent their price far better than Google has in years, just because Apple's so good at these things.
Yeah, really, and has proven it time and time again. Yep.
And they've got double the time of the experience. I mean, it's been 12 years since the iPhone came out, right? And while Google's been experimenting with the Nexus line and other partnerships and stuff like that, we're in year 4 or just past the halfway mark with the Pixel. So again, give it time. I think the 3A was really to me was a moment to see what the potential of this could be, and so we'll see where it plays out with the 4.
Yeah, I hope so. I love Google's Pixel phones. I really do. It's just hard for me to recommend them to people yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's good to have an alternative from the Note. So
yeah,
a phone that costs as much as a pretty decent gaming PC. Anyway,
yeah.
Continue.
Well, we were talking about how the phone is the assistant, or is the assistant the phone? But Google Assistant they just keep on adding things left and right for Google Assistant, making it more compelling to use. And Google Assistant now on select devices will soon enable a feature called ambient mode, which turns the device, and this works on phones and tablets, into something that's like the Google Nest Hub when docked. Calendar details, weather notifications, reminders, music controls, smart home controls, photo slideshow from Google Photos, basically everything my Google Home Nest Hub, whatever it is that they call it now, does. It's launching on select Lenovo tablets and Nokia phones, but surprisingly not the Pixel 4. I don't know, maybe. But either way, if this is a future functionality on Assistant, this is pretty cool. It makes it, makes your phone. I remember back in the day, Jason, you might remember this. There were phones that had a docked mode.
Yeah.
Right. And then when you put it in the little dock on your desk, and you could use the display when it was docked. And this is actually, I wonder why they haven't done this sooner, to be honest.
Yeah, I guess more modernly, maybe there were some concerns with burn-in, but I think we've probably mitigated a lot of that at this point, because the phones can display such rich content and it varies it up. But I remember PDAs used to do that too.
Yeah. I remember when they did this with Android Auto, and then they're taking Android Auto and the phone away. They were like, remember that? Remember that way back when Android Auto was like, hey, we can do this thing. Oh, why don't we release it as an app on the phone? And then you can have it on the phone, and then you have it on the phone, and then they're taking it away from the phone. Wasn't that funny? Wasn't that
No, but they're
crazy how
releasing
they
a
did
legacy app, which they'll support for like 10 minutes.
Right. And this is your story, Flo. And I know you've got skin in the game on this one.
Different transition, though.
Oh, my goodness. I'm sorry.
I even talked to you about it before the show. All right, we're going to go with my transition and pretend that he didn't say any of it, okay? Hey, do you guys know that I've been here for 4 years now?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
4 years?
September's
Today?
my 4-year. No, September's my 4-year anniversary of being on All About Android.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
How do you keep track of that, Flo?
Well, unfortunately, Android Auto still isn't offering me traffic information on the way here every Tuesday, which I find to be very annoying. Just anybody listening to that could really use a little bit of help. But maybe the new assistant driving mode will have something for me. That was the transition.
That was good. That was good.
I thought about it in the car on the way here. Okay, so assistant driving mode was announced at Google I/O. I got to play with it at Google I/O. It was basically a pared down version of the Android Auto that you know now, and it was supposed to replace the use of the entire Android Auto app now in Android 10, which is the version we have coming out now. So the Android app no longer works in standalone mode on many phones ahead of that mode. I'm still using it for what it's worth on Android 10. That mode does not fully exist yet. So Rita Curry, actually at Android Police, spotted the details in a Google support page that points to a new app called Android Auto for phone screens in the works, because makes total sense.
That explains what it is.
Google told The Verge that the app will be available soon as a stopgap measure. And in the meantime, I guess some drivers will have no auto solution. I'm still using Android Auto. I used it on the way here. Yeah, I launched into it. It's still launching when it connects to the Rove bolt in my car. And
okay.
You know, I mean,
automatically when it.
Well, what are you gonna do? You're gonna take that away from people like me who've been relying on it? Like it's my car interface. I have nothing else.
Well, I mean, then that's kind of the downside or the fear here is that at some point there will be no option unless Google does do this stopgap. But still, the stopgap approach is messy in and of itself, you know?
I want to know more about this. I really do. I want to know because the version that I saw at Google I/O also, which the little preview that you'll see on screen for anyone who's watching the video, will see that it's a white background, which when you're driving in a car at night, white is not good for the eyes.
I mean, I'm hoping that there's a dark mode approach, but this is Google we're talking about, and they have plenty of apps that have not been converted to dark mode at this point, even though they said that it would all be done by the time Android 10 comes out. I'm concerned about the swipey, scrolly factor of this car mode.
And that's the technical term, the swipey, scrolly
Well,
factor.
the idea was to keep the entire menu structure on one page so that you're not constantly digging inside different menus, like pressing back. And I understood that, but I also use my phone up above. I don't use it in front of me. So I have a lot of opinions about this.
Yeah.
I don't know, Jason. Maybe we should plan a segment or something about it. You know, we'll talk a little bit off screen about it. 'Cause there's a lot to explore here.
There is. We want to get you here safely. Is ultimately.
It's an hour drive here for me.
I know.
And an hour
It's the most important thing. Yeah. Don't get lost.
I am the most important thing here. It's true.
Let's not forget.
This is the most convoluted pitch for a private driver I've ever heard.
Yeah. Where's my private
Dang. All right. Well, I got an expense account here. We'll get you a limo. Okay. Is that what you want?
Listen, I'll be fine with the Prius.
What I find fascinating is Jason keeps his expense account in his pocket, which is great.
Here's my expense account. Let me tell you what I bought this week. Yes.
All right. Well, while they try to figure out how to pay for Flo's drives, we're going to take a break and thank our first sponsor. And I'm so excited about this because this episode of All About Android is brought to you by Plex. Plex brings together all the media that matters to you in a single app and is available on any device, no matter where you are. I am a proud Plex user, and I'm so happy to share and tell you about how you can organize and stream your personal collection of movies, TV shows, music, and photos for free. You can also stream your favorite podcast, web series, and news also for free. And if you're looking to spend some money, you can upgrade to their Plex Pass for less than $5 a month, and you'll get the best of Plex with exclusive and early access to premium features like offline accessibility. Plex allows you to download your movies, shows, music, and photos to your mobile device for offline enjoyment wherever you go. I am a Plex Pass customer. I pay every month for it. I love it. I'm able to download my media, go to the gym, watch it using the Plex app on my tablet. Plex, I've been using Plex since day one, and it makes my life better. It's amazing. You can also watch live broadcast TV with a DVR. With a Plex Pass, antenna, and a tuner, you can stop paying for cable and still enjoy great TV. Become a true cord cutter and use Plex to enable that wonderful world of free TV. They got premium music features like lyrics and custom curated playlists based off your music preferences. You can get a cinema-like experience when you're watching your personal movie collection, including trailers, behind-the-scene features, and never before seen footage. You got multiple users in your family, or your kind of your little, whatever you refer to as your family, your friends, that sort of thing, roommates. No worries. You can create customized managed accounts and make switching users easy with Plex Home. They even have parental control, so you can safely let your little ones enjoy too. And with Plex Pass, you can get Plex Pass perks, where you get exclusive access to promos and discounts on partner products, and you get to use the newest features before everyone else. So join the thousands and thousands of users who are cutting the cable cord and saving big time. And you can save even more because Plex is offering Twit listeners a 30-day free trial of Plex Pass, which gives you access to all their premium features. So go to plex.tv/twit and enter code TWIT to start your free trial of Plex Pass today. That's plex.tv/twit. And I'm telling you the truth. I love Plex. I strongly recommend it if you're looking to take over, to revamp your whole home theater experience, and you want to work in your phone and your tablets, mobile viewing, all that great stuff. Plex is the way to go. Plex.tv/twit. Thanks, Plex, for supporting All About Android.
That's right. Thank you, Plex.
And you could watch All About Android on Plex. It's all easy to pull up your favorite shows like that way. So there you go, Plex.
Absolutely.
And then after that, I put 90210 in there because, of course, I have that on Plex.
Of course you do.
Me too.
Plus the reunion episode they did in 2000. Anyway.
All right. So this thing called IFA, as David refers to it, I call it IFA because it's faster, happened, and that's in hardware. It's time for some hardware. Let's do it.
Tech show.
We got a few phones. Nothing like majorly groundbreaking, I would say. This is kind of an event where you get a lot of kind of mid-rangey stuff.
Used to be a Samsung event.
Well, yeah, that's true. They would hold their announcement at the beginning.
Like 5 years
they would
ago.
front load IFA.
Yes.
Now it's more
along
of
with
kind
the
of,
washers
it's
that are
definitely,
showing up.
kind of a low key phone thing. It's like, hey, buddy, you want to see some phones?
Yeah.
They're definitely not the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
It's a lot of weird stuff and mid range stuff, like Jason said,
Yeah.
and Europe stuff.
Yes.
Oh, the Europe stuff. So we got a lot to get through, so let's get through the list. I was excited to see this first one because I know it's Flo's favorite. The ASUS ROG Phone 2 Ultimate Edition.
Ultimate.
All right.
ROG.
All right. So it's an update to the recently announced ROG Phone 2, which has got a lot of the same stuff, but some extras. It's got a new black matte finish instead of glossy. 1 terabyte of storage, which is up from 512 gig, because you need 1 terabyte of storage on your device. Faster 2 gig per second download speeds via Cat 20 LTE, and the price is 1,200 euros, which is up from 900 euros. No U.S. price is announced yet, and it really begs the question: is a black matte finish and 1 terabyte of storage and faster download speeds worth the extra 300 euros? I think so, because it's 1 terabyte. That's amazing. What do you guys think?
I mean, as long as the camera cutout is perfectly asymmetrical as it appears to be still, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
That's my bar. It's definitely
I
Cool
think
design.
I think it looks like some kind of ninja weapon.
Yes.
It's yeah.
Now, first of all, Flo, go ahead and correct Ron. It's not ROG.
It's ROG.
It's ROG.
The Republic of Gamers.
Yes. She was kafahing while you were talking. It's like, ROG.
Well, I knew some people want to correct him, so Sure. But I have to say, in terms of branding, ASUS has really stuck to this because I reviewed the ROG laptop over the summer, and it's just like that ninja theme, hard
Overkill.
edges, like the slicey edges. It's very it's very prominent.
You could cut
Can we
yourself
take a
with it.
moment? Can we take a moment and let me date myself? But I remember when I had a 512 megabyte hard drive that was about this high, like
tall?
this wide and like heavy, and now you can put 1 terabyte in that phone. That's crazy.
Back in my day.
So I feel like a phone that can do that should look like a Ninja device. I'm just saying. I mean, I would like to see more compelling design of bezels on phones like this. Like enough of the glossy, kind of shiny, that sort of thing. Like have weird lighting effects and weird angles. Go for it.
Okay,
why not? Look at that.
Okay, JJ in chat is calling you out and says, Ron, you're so old. Does
he loves
not
to do
get
that.
gaming culture. David, do you think that
Gaming
this is a phone?
culture, huh?
Do you think this is a phone that appeals to the gaming culture?
What is gaming culture?
Okay, so as a gamer, I feel like this is a phone for games that end in Z. It's more of a it very much appeals to, I would say, the early to mid aughts gaming aesthetic.
Thank you.
Oddly,
Thank you.
I don't really understand how this is sticking around. It's very cringy. Like
This is so much. It's so much like a marketing department's definition of gamers.
I
Like, this
know,
is-
and it makes me.
Y'all, I'm a gamer. This is not my aesthetic at all. I'm not
exactly.
feeling
I want my
it.
aesthetic
Not
to
into
be like
it.
super. I want
It is.
flat blacks and whites. I want like mid-century gaming
Exactly.
aesthetic. Like give me
Mid-century,
I want
that
the
would be
sleek.
so nice. Like the NES maybe, but a little more, that was
Or like
mid-century.
honestly, like could you make like take the next bit Robin design, make that gamery, like riff on that. They super minimalist and like I don't know. I just don't think
So
that's
hot.
like I think modern gamers want something that looks nice. I don't think that needs to look like it has like green like bioluminescent LEDs coming out of it. It's just it's too much.
I don't know. They
I
want
do like LEDs and everything.
They
I'm not gonna lie.
gamers really do want the LEDs on the back of the phone to light up the back wall while they're playing in their dark dungeon. That's what they want. So,
I do have that going in my office. Actually. I do have a light
I
strip.
just don't know. I feel like honestly, still, what the best gaming phone is? It's an iPhone, but nobody wants to really.
Wrong show, David.
Yeah. Whoa. Hey, slow down, there, buddy.
It has the best graphics. The graphics that end in a Z. Like it has the best ones.
yeah. I don't believe you. So, anyways, no.
Anyways, with a Z. Hey, let's talk about dual screen phones.
All right.
Not foldable phones.
Okay,
Dual
because there's a
screen.
difference.
But dual screen phones.
Got
In
it.
fact, I think Juan Bagnell, who was on the show last week, mentioned this device, the LG G8X. Not a Z, but an X.
He was talking about the LG V50.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So these are actually different,
Okay.
but same,
Wow.
same, but different, right?
I messed up.
Right? So
Sorry.
This is like evolution, maybe? I don't know.
Oh, well, okay. David got to play with it. So, David, in fact, you wrote about it. You didn't just play with it. You went hands-on. You manhandled this thing. You're... Okay.
Whoa. Okay.
I want to hear your... rolling it back. I want to hear your thoughts. Is the dual screen fold out approach, is it better or worse than the foldable screen approach? I want to hear your thoughts.
No, it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense at all. Like I as soon as I pick this thing up, I'm like, oh yeah, this is another one of those LG harebrained schemes. And so the thing that struck me immediately was like I still have in a box somewhere a ZT Axon M, and I'm like, that was actually probably better than this in terms of execution, and it's 2 years old, and it was still terrible. So I look at the G8X and I see, all I can see is that LG's executives are like, we must have a device that competes with the Galaxy Fold. And then the engineers are like, great, we'll get right on it. And then the executives are like, well, here's your budget. and
True.
And the G8X is what happened. So I think the dual screen accessory, dead on arrival. Just don't even think about it. Don't buy it. It's going to cost too much. It's not adding meaningful functionality unless you are a rideshare driver, in which case you can navigate and watch YouTube at the same time.
That's
I don't
Well, that
advise
just applies to a whole swath of people there.
It does. It does apply to a whole swath of
unfortunately it does.
yeah, it really does. But other than that, no, it's just like there's no benefit to doing this. LG talks like, oh, we're gonna have like gamepad controls, maybe for like some kind of crazy mobile Fortnite junkie who wants a a digital gamepad that folds up in their pocket, like kind of like Nintendo 3DS, but it's a screen. I guess that makes a little bit of sense. So there's that. So you've got Uber drivers who want to watch a movie while they're getting you to your destination very
Totally
safely,
safe.
and Fortnite players who aren't just bothering like with a gaming laptop or just playing on an iPhone with a Bluetooth controller. So I'm not sure that there's a real market for this phone. There are theoretical markets. Also, it weighs like percent more than a Galaxy Fold, like with the attachment on.
100%. Well, you dropped off
It's
a
not
little bit
quite-
there.
It weighs about 30%.
30%.
more than a Galaxy. So it's hefty. It's a big phone. Like
Okay.
I think it's 300, almost 330 grams, in the Galaxy Fold's like 260 or something like that.
Yeah, you call
Maybe
it
like 20.
you call it a chonkster in your write-up.
I do.
which
It is.
think
It is a
appropriate.
chonkster.
It's a technical term.
Yeah.
It is a technical term.
It's a
not
metaphorical
quite as thick.
chonkster.
Honestly, not quite as thick as the Galaxy Fold. It's like a 0.5 millimeter thinner. If that really is something that interests you, I don't see. The other thing, like LG talks about, that picture Jason's going through there, is like basically the idea like that can be a modern day touchscreen sidekick, where you've got the screen. You've got the keyboard on the bottom, you got your messaging on the top. But the problem is Android software has been designed for portrait layout for like, I don't know, ever. And so all apps and landscape look bad. There's just not, unless it's a game or a video player, it looks bad. It uses screen real estate badly. It's also an ultra wide screen, so there just is no vertical space to begin with. It's not a good solution for that sort of thing. So I think LG is getting desperate, and it's not a good look. This phone's going to be way too expensive with the attachment. They haven't released pricing yet that I'm aware of, but I believe the V50 with its attachment was something like $1,600.
Ah!
It was a lot. This will be cheaper, I'm almost certain, but it's not going to be cheap. So the other, like, then you end up like, okay, so maybe the dual screen attachment thing is lame. How about the G8X just as a phone? You take it out of the attachment. Is it a good phone?
Right.
It's fine. It has a big battery for what it is,
fine.
4,000 milliamp hours, which is reasonably big. But there's nothing about it that stands out. And also LG's atrocious software update record, the fact that their cameras are very much middle of the pack. They're good, but they're not amazing. And they have a newly designed software layer. It looks fine. It's an aesthetic update. It looks better for sure. But there's nothing about this phone that, cries out and says, buy me, unless you're a audiophile. And so basically that would probably be why one would be trying to like decapitate me right now, is because it has a headphone jack and the LG Quad DAC,
Yes.
which are very important things. So that is one weird little small audience that LG can still say they're catering to, that Samsung and basically any phone that's not the iPhone can claim. I just don't think this phone really exists for a meaningful audience, though. LG lost the plot a while ago, and it still hasn't found it.
Still searching. Would you say the same about Sony? Would you say they lost the plot? I'm not.
Sorry, I laughed.
I mean, this phone, like, honestly, the Xperia 5 should be like magic clickbait juice, because it's a premium small Android phone.
Yeah.
It's what everybody on the internet asks for, right? I want a real premium Android phone, but I don't want it to be huge. That's what this is. I mean, but Sony's going to price it to the moon, and it's also Sony. So who knows what the software update support's going to look like?
Yeah.
Who knows what the quality assurance is going to be like at this point? Who knows how the cameras are going to perform? There are just so many questions about this phone that I wouldn't like to answer. I would just tell people, probably don't buy it. It's also almost certainly going to be very, very expensive, because everything Sony makes is very, very expensive.
Yeah, it really does become very expensive. This is the Xperia 5. Essentially, the Xperia 1 with some minor changes, 6.1-inch Full HD display from a 6.5-inch 4K display.
So it's worth noting thing, these are 21:9 aspect ratio screens, so they're super tall.
Okay.
So this is actually a small phone. 6.1 sounds big. This is like the size of, I think, a Galaxy S10e. It's not a big phone.
Wow. Okay.
It's just taller than the S10e.
Right. Tall drink of water. 3140 milliamp hour battery down from 3300 milliamp hour. Like you said, smaller overall design. Camera features are basically the same. Launches with Pi. No word on Android 10. Pre-order September 18th with availability in October. And if you pre-order, you actually get a pair of WF-1000XM3 noise-canceling in-ear headphones, wireless headphones. So, if you're going to get one of these, that's probably the way to do it, because then at least you get some extra value out of it. And I think those earphones are actually pretty decent. So, might be a good pairing if you're a Sony fan. But,
All right. Well, if you're a Motorola fan, Motorola showed up at IFA, and they unveiled the One Zoom, which I feel like also like Sony, they have a counting math problem. It's a mid-range phone with a quad camera array. So it seems like 4, not 1. 48 megapixel main sensor with quad pixel technology that produces a 12 megapixel image. It's also got a 3x optical and 10x hybrid zoom with OIS. There's the One Zoom. Seems like 2 there. It's also got an ultra wide camera, 25 megapixel front facing quad pixel camera, 6.39 inch OLED display with optical in display fingerprint sensor. Trying to give the ROG phone a run for its money. The Motorola logo on the back lights up with notifications. Pretty cool. And it's important to note that this is a mid-range phone, but not an Android One device, unlike the other Moto ones. It's got a price tag of $450. And you got to wonder. I looked at the recent line of phones that Motorola came out earlier this year, and it seems like they're finding success by focusing on less, than the premium phones. These mid-range phones, Motorola seems to have found their niche. David, what do you think of this Motorola One Zoom? Do you like the little logo that lights up, or what?
That's fun. I have to see how the camera. Honestly, the cameras on this phone have to perform in a reasonably good way. Yeah. And Motorola, historically, that has actually been the weakest point on all of their phones. So if they fix that, then maybe this is a good phone. I know they're already doing pre-orders for it, $50 off, so you can get it for $400. So as far as the specs go, it does look pretty respectable. $400 is a little much for what's inside it, but not crazy. I would say that if the cameras are good, but we don't have a lot of information about the cameras yet in terms of their performance, this could be an interesting device. But in America, I feel it occupies a real no man's land of phones, where you're so close to being able to get something really much better, and you're also well above real budget phones with this price point. So, if you're looking at $450 for this phone, like a OnePlus 7 Pro isn't too far away. No. And that's a phone that's vastly more capable. As people say, oh, well, that's like, that's OnePlus Pro's like $150 or $120, $130 more. No, it's more than that. It's $160 more. Anyway, my point tends to be that, like, basically, if you're able to spend $450 on a smartphone, another $160 is probably not going to break the bank necessarily. So in America, I think because everybody buys everything on payment plans, it's just a tough market to compete in that middle segment. And I don't think this Moto phone's probably going to come to any carriers, really. So it's probably going to toil in obscurity. In markets like India and markets like Europe and Brazil, where Moto is also strong, it's entirely possible this phone will have stronger appeal. But I'd be really curious to see how the cameras are in terms of their actual performance. But we didn't have a chance to really test them unless we wanted to take some photos inside of a hotel room, which didn't really seem like a good way to test them.
Probably not. And it's got the 4 camera array. Are we going to start seeing like 5 and 6 camera array phones on a regular?
Spider eyes.
Yeah, that's the next frontier.
Absolutely,
now, right?
China's going to get us there. I'm certain of it.
Oh, geez. And we're going to roll our eyes, and then 2 years from now, that's going to be the normal. And yeah, then Google's going to come out with a phone that's just one large camera lens. That's all it is on the back. It's just one giant lens.
Well,
but
honestly,
with security cover.
There was that rumor that Google could do like a DSLR attachment for the Pixel phone.
Right.
I want it. I want that.
Yeah, I don't know we're going to get that. Don't know that we're going to get that. Flo, you have the last one.
I think there's going to be a lot of folks who are really excited about this in our chat room. So HMD Global, the purveyors of the Nokia brand worldwide, have announced the Nokia 6.2 and 7.2. The 7.2 has a 6.3-inch Full HD Plus display with always-on HDR, Snapdragon 660 on the inside, 4 or 6 gigs of RAM, and 64 gigs of storage. The primary rear-facing lens is a 48-megapixel Zeiss lens with quad-pixel tech, which dials it down to a 12-megapixel image with a 5-megapixel depth sensor and 8-megapixel ultra-wide lens. So again, back to those spider eyes. Headphone jack is on this one, which I know will make some people happy out there. 3,500 milliamp battery, and this one is going for $299 or €349. And then we have the 6.2, which has the same 6.3-inch display as the 7.2, but inside it's got the Snapdragon 636 processor, 3 or 4 gigs of RAM, 32 or 64 gigs of storage, a primary 16 megapixel, 5 megapixel depth, an 8 megapixel wide angle, 3,500 milliamp battery, headphone jack, and that's $199 or €249. So anybody who
Nokia.
still waving that Nokia by HMD Global flag, there you go.
I don't know. I think that 6.2 looks like it could be pretty attractive if it comes to America. I would hope for probably the 4 gigabyte model, and I would guess probably a price point of like $229 if that's what it costs in euros.
It'll
maybe
have to be
like
the carriers really pushing that as like, hey, save some money, get this phone.
It's a nice design.
It's a nice design, and I think they've got quad cameras on the back. The design looks nice. It's stock Android. It's Android 1,
right?
Which is awesome. I think that Nokia last year released too many phones. And it got really confusing. So I'll be curious to see. I think we're going to review these in fairly short order. So 7.2 looks good. I just think it might be too expensive for a Nokia brand phone. But we'll see.
HMD's like doing gangbusters as far as the amount of these Nokia phones they're putting out. They're putting out so many Android phones. Yeah, really are.
So
they're on this now.
I want to know, if we brought in a bunch of like Gen Zers and asked them if they knew what Nokia was, what they would say.
We found Gen Zers on the street. We asked them one question.
We bribed them with candy and hydro flasks.
What do you bribe Gen Z with? Hydro flask. That's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, all the kids have them.
All right, but then you have to post results of your survey on TikTok.
Right.
In a very creative way where everybody keeps growing and growing and growing.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm like addicted to TikTok. Like I can't stop watching it. Like
I know it's like ASMR.
It is. I watch TikTok for like 30 minutes a day at this point. And
yes,
I'm like,
and it's so entertaining.
Oh, it's very disappointing. It's just Vine.
You've identified a holdout from the arena, by the way.
You're putting that into the ether.
I'm just putting that out there.
Wait, nobody has brought...
I don't think anyone's brought TikTok into the arena.
I thought about it today, but then I was like, I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah, that sounds a little dangerous.
That's one of those brand, did anyone bring Instagram? Like that sort of thing. So
yeah, but I mean, it's also a new. Yeah, I think you're probably right. It's also
not new anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
So, fellow Gen Zers, how do you do?
All right, we're not done with.
One more thing on TikTok.
Yeah.
Can I just tell you, it's very, very amusing because there's a Subway ad for TikTok in the subway station in my neighborhood, and my wife and I were talking about it, and we don't even understand the copy of the ad. Like the ad just says the TikTok logo and a picture of people, and it says it's like asking for a cup of water. It's asking for a water cup and getting soda.
All right, but have you seen the Mr. Sandman mosaic?
Oh my gosh.
It's so good. Oh, I love it. It's one of the best things ever happened on the internet.
Anyway, all right, let's move on.
No clue. out of my league here.
It's all right. Get started.
Sorry, I started browsing the internet. I was like, on my phone. I was like, I've got nothing on TikTok.
Bored him.
Let's do the other type of hardware real quick. Mm-hmm. We've got some stuff from IFA or IFA, whatever you want to call it. All right. So real quick here, there were apparently a bunch of Wear OS devices, wearables shown off at IFA. They all fall in the Fossil sub-brand category, so that's why there were a number of them. They all have the Wear 3100 inside. Some wearables by Puma, which I don't know how detailed I have to get on these, but $275 available in November 2019 with a 44mm display, water-resistant GPS, NFC, 4 gigs of storage, 512 megs of RAM, which I feel like... Why are you doing that low of RAM? But I guess it is the lower cost of the collection. Michael Kors has 3 different watches. MKGO on the low end for $295. Lexington G for $350 to $425 with kind of a more traditional flashy gold look. And then the Bradshaw 2 $410 to $460, even more premium. Those are for you, by the way, Flo, right? Like a Michael Kors watch, yes? No?
No.
Okay.
I haven't been in a Michael Kors since, sorry, dude.
So another time. Armani Smartwatch 3 has waterproofing GPS, which, good for fitness. 1 gig of RAM, 8 gigs of storage. 8 gigs of storage is not bad on a wearable, I suppose. No price yet on that. And then Diesel on Axiom with its industrial type design, 1 gig of RAM, 8 gigs of storage there as well, $350 available in October. I think what jumps out at me here is just kind of proving that Android Wear or Android's Wear OS has really just become the brand for the big name.
These are just fashion watches.
Yeah, they're just fashion watches.
Available at your local Macy's and Nordstrom's.
Yeah, like powering your fashion watch. If you have to have a Michael Kors or an Armani watch and you want to have it also digital,
I could see
Android
the men's
Wear
hopping
OS
on the Armani one with the 8 gigs and having that, sporting that. I just don't know so much about the ladies.
Yeah,
because like the ladies that I see have Fitbits or Apple Watches.
They have
yes, I always see the Fitbits.
No, not the Fitbit
Apple
Small.
Watch.
The watch Fitbit watches.
The Fitbit watch. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
The Versa or whatever.
Yeah,
it is.
the Versa. It's like the new.
Yeah, I see a lot of those.
Yeah, I have seen. Like I ask people, what is that watch? Oh, it's a Fitbit.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. That was IFA almost in a nutshell. We've got a little bit of that after we take this break. Thank today's sponsor. This episode of All About Android is brought to you by PayPal Credit. Use PayPal Credit for any purchases you want to make, big or small. You might have a trip you want to take, flights, car rentals, hotels, tickets, etc. Or a new computer, sound system, monitor, or phone you've been waiting to buy. Or for the sneakerheads out there, it seems there's always a new shoe that comes out that you just have to have. You can buy what you want today and pay overtime with PayPal Credit. And PayPal Credit offers 6 months special financing on purchases of $99 or more. Some great things about PayPal Credit. It's a digital, reusable credit line built into your account with PayPal. No card needed. It's accepted at millions of online stores where PayPal is accepted. You can use PayPal Credit with your existing account with PayPal, and checkout is seamless. If you don't have an account with PayPal, you can open one for free. PayPal Credit is great for large expenses or when something unexpected comes up. And applying is easy. Just answer a few quick questions and get a credit decision in seconds. Enjoy 6 months special financing on purchases of $99 or more. Go to paypal.com/twit to learn more and apply for PayPal Credit. Minimum monthly payments required, subject to credit approval. That's paypal.com/twit. All right, we have more hardware. We don't need to roll a bumper or anything like that. We're back into the regular type of hardware also. And Ron, you got this one.
It's hard to go without a bumper. So I'm curious to hear what David thinks. Oh, there you go. I'll take that bumper.
I'll take Spock.
I'll take Spock. That's fine. Spock, can you swipe us into the new thing of hardware? There you go.
Thank you, Spock.
I kind of want a bumper with Spock now.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm very excited to hear what David thinks of the fact that now the Samsung Galaxy Fold has been announced that it's ready and launching first in South Korea. Pre-orders for the Galaxy Fold were canceled last week, as well as offered $250 store credit. It's going to be available September 18th in France, Germany, Singapore, and the UK, and the US in upcoming weeks. And rumors are pointing to September 27th. David, you've had some time with the fixed version. Please tell me, is this the foldable revolution I've been waiting for? Did they get it right?
I mean, I don't know, but I did use it, and it's kind of like honestly, it's like they put like those little like stoppers in the top and bottom edge of the screen where the gunk was getting in. It's basically like one of those little pizza triangles they put in there, but it just stops stuff from getting in the phone. At least that's my technical assessment of the changes they've made. From what I've also heard from other people who use the original version, the new Galaxy Fold is more spring-alicious. It's more springy when you open and close it. So it's got a more satisfying ka-ching, 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 so kind of thing going on. And it does. It's pretty. It's nice. You fold it up and it snaps. You open it. It snaps open. It seems like they've got a little more enjoyable mechanism going on there, which is nice. I think it matters for stuff that moves. It should feel satisfying when you click it open and closed. It does feel pretty sturdy, actually. So I just looked at it for a few minutes. It's the same phone for the most part, really. They just made these minor mechanical changes so that it doesn't like kill itself or whatever. And hopefully their changes were successful in their goal. They've also added some more layers to the screen protector, reducing the chance that if you, I think the idea there was if you remove the layer you're not supposed to remove, which is now much harder to remove because it's tucked under the screen now. So it extends beyond the bezel and actually into like the area between the edge of the body and the edge of the screen. So unless you like pulled out an X-Acto knife and started hacking away at it, you would probably have a pretty hard time removing that now.
Ooh, that's an expensive
and honestly, that's what they should have done in the beginning, right?
Yep.
Like you see the way it was rolled out initially, and it really did just like scream at you to like pick at it, or you know what I mean?
It really did, and they should know better because we as human beings we do enjoy picking at stuff. It's just kind of what we do.
I gotta say there's nothing more satisfying than peeling back one of those films over a new device, over a new phone, whatever.
Oh no!
I'm like, ooh, I get to peel that off the screen.
Yeah. You know what's better is like if you've ever done IT or like helped like an older person with their computer, and you walk up to their monitor and all of the plastic around the rim, the bezel of the monitor is still there. And it's been there for years, and you just like rip it off real slowly. Oh, that's the best.
It is the best. All right, you and I are in the same camp.
I save that on my in my car. I still have plastic from when I originally bought it, and in some of my purses on the because I want to keep the logo intact because I'm a
oh my god.
So then you
brands that make me dance.
Man, I don't get it. I don't get it. So then you spend years with this like ugly plastic thing hanging off it instead. That's not a good alternative.
When I take like the purses to Goodwill, somebody can have a nice brand, or when I sell the car, like somebody can have a nice brand. That's how I think of it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Father Robert and I, when Father Robert worked here, he and I would go back and forth as far as like what the right thing is to do, and he'd bring in technology, and it would still have the plastic on. When he wasn't looking, I'd reach over.
My couches also have plastic on them.
You're not supposed to leave that stuff on there. It's there for shipping, and then you get it in your home.
No, you don't
it's
want
like the tag on your mattress. Once it's home, it doesn't need to be there anymore. You can take it off. You're allowed. It's okay.
What if you want to eBay it?
Who cares?
eBay your mattress.
Yes.
Oh man.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Really bad idea.
Not recommended.
Definitely do not go to eBay if you're looking for a mattress.
No.
Definitely don't look for used
Just
mattresses.
go to the street. There's always a free one. Anyway,
that's true.
You have something to show us.
Arguably worse advice.
Yes. Right. I'm not sure we got to a better place there, but anyways.
Wow.
All right, so on the table here, you could see the JBL Link Bar. You may remember a couple of weeks ago, I think it was like 3 weeks ago, I brought the JBL Link Bar on the show and did kind of like a first look. I had just received it that night, took it home, hooked it up to our setup at home, and I've been using it ever since. Not just me, by the way, my family. So it's been a journey. It's been an experience.
New Taylor Swift album getting a lot of play at your house on this thing, I'm thinking.
Yeah, you would be right, actually.
Hey.
The girls, they love their Taylor Swift. Anyways, usually sound bars are just kind of sound bars, right? And they might have like an HDMI input in it. The Link Bar, of course, has multiple HDMI inputs in it. It has an HDMI ARC output, which, I routed to my TV, controlled my TV via the remote, which I actually have here, to power it, and as well as change the volume and everything, which was nice as well. The thing that sets the JBL Link Bar apart from other sound bars is that it has Android TV running inside of it, and it also has Assistant built into it. So even when your TV is off, you can still fire off Assistant commands to it. Although I noticed that in my house, with other Google Homes throughout the house, they would usually pick up the command before the Link Bar.
Usually mute.
Oh, don't get me started on that topic, by the way. I'm at a war with 3 of my Google Homes over which one should be answering and which one doesn't. And now, I'm sorry, I don't want to take away from this review, but I could go off on this. But anyway, carry on.
Yes. So let's start with the design. I would say the design was great. It fit into my setup really nicely. It's a 40-inch soundbar. It has a pair of 0.8-inch tweeters, 4 1.7-inch by 3.2-inch full-range speakers. So it's got, this whole array of speakers throughout, 100 watts of maximum power. I felt that it got pretty darn loud when I needed to really push it. Like I said, 3 4K HDMI inputs. We used those to drive my PlayStation 4, and then a Shield TV, which, yes, it's nested Android TV devices. I'll get to that in a moment. And then that 4K HDMI ARC output to my TV, which worked really well. It also has a TOS Link optical audio input. It has a privacy switch mute button. So if you want to mute the mics on board, you can do that. Ethernet, of course. Inside, you're going to find a quad-core A53 with 2 gigs of RAM, wireless support up to 802.11 AC on 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz bands. Bluetooth 4.2 support works really well, and I'll test that out here in a second. We can wow you with the subwoofer, which I will talk about in a moment. And 4 gigs. Oh man, this is the painful part. 4 gigs of storage with absolutely no way of expanding that. There's no expandable storage, no USB port other than a service USB port on the back, but that doesn't give you the ability to connect any sort of external storage in any way. So really the only way you're going to add storage to this is some sort of network attached storage option through Android TV. And there, that doesn't really get you the ability to install a bunch of Android TV apps beyond the 4 gigs of storage right out of the box. So that's a huge downside here. Android TV is, it's flexible, and you want to have the storage space to install whatever you want to install, and you're going to run into that eventually. It is running Android TV 9.0 Pi out of the box. As far as the sound itself, of course, it's a sound bar. How does it sound? I thought it was plenty loud, like I said. I'd say maybe it sounds a little bit flat out of the box, but there are some included sound modes that help out a little bit in the Android TV UI. You can select, for movie or music or voice. You just have to go into the settings in order to get there, and you can do that relatively easily. Stereo imaging on a soundbar is, I feel, never really that great, right? Because it's a limited distance, and you're trying to drive stereo sound into a large room, which was the case at our house. Not drastic, but kind of what you expect from a soundbar, and I thought it sounded reasonable in that regard. So now I'm going to do the crazy thing here. I'm going to lift a subwoofer onto the table and hope I don't break the table, because this bad boy.
It's been separating me and Jason.
This thing is huge. So this is the paired Saturn. Sorry, I won't be able to look at you anymore.
There's an exclamation point on the side. That's all I wanted to.
It's yelling at you. This is an optional subwoofer. This so you're going to pay extra for this. Does a really great job of filling out the low end. That's what it's all about. The soundbar on its own without the subwoofer, it sounds fine, but then when you add the subwoofer, it rattles the room. Like, this thing sounds way better than the subwoofer that I actually have in our system at home. Super easy wireless pairing. There's literally just a button on the back of this wireless subwoofer and a button on the Link Bar that when you press them both, they find each other, and it was like as easy as could be, as well as controls over how intense you want the subwoofer sound to be. But it was really great watching some movies and just hearing things rattle through the subwoofer and making me realize, dang, my subwoofer is not very good compared to this one. There is no option to include satellite surround speakers, which I find to be a really big downside here. All in with the Link Bar and the subwoofer, you would spend around $700, and that's for stereo in the front and a subwoofer with no surround in the back, and I feel like that's a huge disadvantage.
That's in the high end.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a pretty pricey package when you're including the subwoofer, which I would say if you're getting the soundbar, get the subwoofer. You will not regret having the subwoofer. It really helps. But yes, it's a gigantic piece of gear here. As far as performance, Android TV, I would say felt snappy enough, perhaps not as snappy as the Shield TV, which has years old hardware, by the way. Also streams 4K video, not HDR through Android TV yet on the Link Bar, but I know that that's coming. Assistant I found to be kind of slow at times. You'd fire off an assistant command and it would take a little while, or it'd be completely stumped and it wouldn't do the thing that you want it to do. But you can use Assistant to control your TV, turn up, turn down volume. When you switch to other inputs, Assistant will still appear over the top of those inputs. So you could be in your PlayStation and the Assistant will appear over the top. So it does some neat things. It's just kind of slow. One of the big downsides is the fact that you cannot add this to a home group for speakers.
Really?
So you can fire off like music to this directly, but if you say, "Hey G, play this album in all rooms, on all speakers," it will not include this as part of that package.
That's a bummer.
Big bummer, because that's what I would want most out of this. Is like, this is where I get the best sound when I'm listening to music, and not very easy to do. The remote is not a universal remote, so I could get it to turn on, of course, my TV through the ARC connection, and switching through inputs and everything, but you're still going to live in a multi-remote world unless you have something like a Logitech Harmony to control that. So it could get really confusing unless you have another option, so keep that in mind. And there's no Amazon Prime Video option on the Link Bar. Even though it's available on the Shield TV, it's not available on Android TV on the Link Bar yet. I'm sure it's coming, but it just made for a really confusing scenario. Some of the B-roll that you were playing, Victor, as far as like my smart TV showing its overlay on top of the Android TV underneath it, it's like nested menus on top of menus at times, and that's maybe less a problem of the Link Bar and more a problem of the state of smart TVs right now, where they have their own apps and their own UI that appears over the top, and it just gets really confusing very quickly. In a house of four with two children who want to watch their Amazing Race on Amazon Prime, it was not easy.
Question for you on the button there. Can you change like how high the voice is to the background sound? So like on my Polk soundbar, I have two options to turn the voice up versus the rest of the sound. Yeah, of the content.
Oh, no. Okay. There's no controls like that.
Oh, okay.
No deeper controls like that.
So this seems very much like a Android TV focused soundbar.
Yes, it's almost like its purpose is the fact that it's a soundbar with Android TV.
But it doesn't do a home group.
It doesn't do a home group, which is a huge bummer. Yeah, a very big bummer for me. That was one of my biggest disappointments. The JBL Link Bar is $399. The JBL SW10 subwoofer, $299 extra. So overall, this is a pretty expensive piece of kit. Before I kind of go, and give you my final impression, I'm going to see if I'm connected via Bluetooth here, just to give you a sense of. Oh boy! See, it's rattling so much. Here, it's on the table. I'll lift it off so it doesn't quite shake. And
that was awesome.
I know, it's like thumping. Here, I have to put it back down because it's heavy.
Should have gone with Chumbawamba.
I'm really happy I didn't go with Chumbawamba. Don't you dare speak those words.
I get knocked down.
Yeah, the subwoofer sounds great. So overall, I would say better Android TV performance from standalone devices like Shield TV. If Android TV is your requirement, you're probably going to do better just getting a standalone device, right? And just work it into an input. I appreciate what JBL has done here, what they're trying to do. Sometimes it just kind of felt like it has nice features, but it's trying too hard to do too many things, and it's not good at everything. Also, the no surround sound option really limits it per the cost. So, yeah, that's kind of my take on the JBL Link Bar. David, I know Steven reviewed it for Android Police. I think there was some similarities between our reviews as far as that's concerned. Are you interested in this at all?
No. I admit to being a bit of when it comes to speakers, I'm a bit of a sound nerd. So sound bars basically are witchcraft to me. So I don't like to involve myself with them.
I understand. So yeah,
you basically verified that I made the right purchase, because I was gonna wait for this to come out so I could get integrated Android TV, but I went with a much cheaper Polk instead, which came with a subwoofer in it and works on my home group.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because it's a Google Cast. So I said, you know what? I'll keep the Android TV on the Mi Box.
Yeah.
And then I just will get something with casting so that I could have the sound in the house, because we like to do a home group for music. So
interesting.
Yeah, the only way I could fire off is, say, hey, G, play this album on the JBL Link Bar, and then it would fire the music to it. But if I said, play it in the living room, which it was a part of the living room home group,
that's a bummer.
It would bypass it. It wouldn't do it.
Yeah. That's so weird. It doesn't see it as a device, and that's fascinating, because it's an assistant device, so it should be there.
I don't know if there's some sort of deeper compatibility that needs to be. I'm honestly,
some sort of
I'm
list
baffled
exclusion
by
they're doing or something.
But I know it's
that's
not just me. Other reviewers pointed it out as well. It's just a big downside.
Did you set it up through the Google Home app?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. It's all dialed in there, and because in order for it to connect to your account, you kind of have to do that, and added it to the living room and everything. So, a little bit of a bummer. But if you're going to get it, definitely get the subwoofer. I know that it's even more expensive.
Sound good.
It sounds really good with the subwoofer plugged in, but you could probably find better just all around. So there you go. All right. We are going to get into the arena in a moment, but first, let's take a break and thank the sponsor of this episode. This episode of All About Android is brought to you by DoorDash. DoorDash connects you to your favorite restaurants in your city. If you're having a long day at work, if you're having a tough day at school, you're still stuck at the office and you can't go anywhere, you want to treat yourself to the meal that you feel like you deserve, but you can't go and get it. That's what DoorDash is all about. They can deliver it to you. They can basically take the food on demand from your favorite restaurant right to you. That's what DoorDash. Ordering is easy. You just use the DoorDash app, choose what you want to eat, and a Dasher will bring it to you anywhere you are. So you're going to find your favorite pizza joint. It's going to be there on DoorDash, along with over 340,000 other awesome restaurants are there as well. DoorDash connects you with door-to-door delivery in over 3,300 cities in all 50 states and Canada. So you can order from your local go-tos, or even choose from your favorite chains that you're very familiar with: Chipotle, Wendy's, Chick-fil-A, Cheesecake Factory. And then you don't have to worry about dinner. Let dinner come to you with DoorDash. Right now, our listeners can get $5 off their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter promo code Android. That's $5 off your first order when you download the DoorDash app from the Play Store and enter promo code Android. Again, that's promo code Android. You'll get $5 off your first order. Just look for DoorDash, and we thank DoorDash for their support of All About Android. And now, it's time for the arena. Let's do it.
So many enter, but only one lives. Android Arena.
Last week's poll was twit.to/AAA poll 436, and you placed your vote. And it turns out that, Riptide.
Results.
Yeah.
Juan always does that.
Juan does that.
He comes in with a game, and then I'm like,
he comes in.
But he came in with a super obvious game. Like, I played this game a million times, and I've never once thought to bring it into the arena.
Juan. He brings in a game, and it works.
Yeah.
It's the TikTok of games.
Yeah, it could be. Riptide GP Renegade wins with 47%.
There they are.
There we go.
47%.
Second place, Canny at 35%. Who had Canny?
That's me.
That's you. Flo, second place. Unfold, third place at 12, almost 13%. And 3D Scanner by Samsung, not seeing hardly any love.
You can't,
total of
Jason,
9 votes.
You should know better. You can't go with a device specific app. Like a manufacturer specific. It limits the audience, man.
We'll see. There's
Jason,
a little bit of that going on today, too.
We need to invite your loyal voters to the show at the end of the year. because they are waving your flag. And God bless them.
Yes, the 9 of you that voted for me, thank you.
Wow.
From the bottom of my heart.
So those results through 35 weeks in voting, thanks to Wake County for the calculations. I am still in last place with 70 points. Jason, you are in third place with 74 points. Guests have an even 100 points. And Flo, you're in first place with 110 points, but the guests are gaining on you. So we'll see what happens if David can bridge the gap. But Jason, with your nine votes last week, puts you firmly in first to go tonight. So
I don't know, it's not the quantity of votes; it's the quality.
It's the quality, right? Yeah,
the quality of votes.
Sure.
That's what I tell myself, anyways. All right. The app that I'm going to show off is an app that you've probably heard of on desktop, and now it's on Android. It's a Vivaldi browser. And there's a beta on Android going on right now if you want to try a different browser. Oh, hey, look at that. Android, please. Vivaldi, like I said, it's currently in beta. It's a highly customizable, let's say, browser. And you get a number of things out of this here. Let's go out to this main area. This is kind of the screen, kind of the landing page screen that you get. You've got your URL bar up top where you can do your searches or your web addresses. These are all the speed dials where you can create folders, essentially kind of like easy access to bookmarks and stuff like that. Just looks, it's organized in a nice, I don't know, kind of a crisp, inviting way, and you can create new ones and put them on your speed dial. Essentially, they appear right when you open up a new browser session, and they're right there for you. And again, like I said, organizable by folder. Down at the bottom is the little nav bar. That's a big component of Vivaldi on the web browser. You've got a tab switcher, so I could jump into there and go between my tabs, of course. You've got your forward and back, your search, of course. That just takes you right up there. You could just tap up there anyways. And then you got this, which is kind of more information, right? It defaults to jumping to your bookmarks, which is kind of a longer list, more like a details-oriented list of some of your bookmarks. Of course, your speed dials are there, but others as well. You've got your history, where you've been and browsed. You've got notes, so you can write notes here and store things for reference later. Maybe you want to purchase something later, or you want to write, take a note about a site that you're visiting or whatever. You can create notes and they'll be stored here, and then you can refer to those at a later time, which is kind of nice. And then, of course, your downloads are sorted there as well. Let's see here. We'll go ahead and jump into a site, and just a random site. I just picked, I don't know, twit.tv. I don't know, maybe you guys have heard of it. And there you go. Renders everything nicely. Everything feels pretty fluid and everything. Of course, this is the beta, so you probably run into things here and there. Tapping the Vivaldi tab, you get a little bit of extras, including all the settings. Now you can, identify which search engine you want to use. You can store the password store on here, sync up your payment methods, and then it does have full account sync. So if you use Vivaldi on a browser and you want to sync things like your bookmarks and your history and your passwords, all that stuff over to the browser, of course, it can be available here. And that's really nice. Autofill, even the notes, all that kind of stuff. And I do believe that there is dark mode on here somewhere. Why did I not look to see where that is? I can't remember where it is. But it's here somewhere. So trust me. And there are no extensions here for now. So that is one thing that is missing. Hopefully at some point, they can add in the extensions. And I think there's ability to limit tracking as well. So you can keep sites from tracking data via ads and that sort of stuff. But it's a start. And if you like to kind of search for alternative browsers, you don't like using, Chrome for whatever reason, Vivaldi is an alternative option and worth checking out. And it just launched. So Vivaldi browser beta, just do a search for that and you're going to find it in the Play Store and you can install it for free. All right, Ron, you'll go next. And I have yours installed. I will attempt to show it off anyways. I didn't play around with it prior. Oh, okay, I need to do Uh-oh, you're muted. You're muted.
I'm muted.
There you go.
Because I sneezed.
Bless you.
So this is a fun app that I love. One of the reasons why I love Android is that you have specific things that come out for things like, I don't know, the Google Pixel that is exclusive to the Google Pixel. And eventually someone figures that out and makes it for every other phone. In this particular case, the app is called Flip D&D, Flip to Shh. And basically, it's the functionality that's available on the Pixel 3, which is when you put your phone down, it moves the phone to D&D mode, do not disturb mode, and this enables it for any Android phone, which is wonderful. So Jason has it loaded up there. It's real simple. 5 seconds after you flip your phone down, it will switch to do not disturb mode.
I wonder if it'll give me a little vibrating kick when it
can.
happens.
Yeah, I think it can. I think let me go. If you look in the settings,
I think the hard thing is showing that it was on D&D.
It also makes a sound too. So if you there you go. If you go to the upper right hand corner, you can see the only settings there are whether you want it to vibrate and sound, as well as a limit to priority do not disturb, which is a setting within do not disturb to allow priority things to come through. You do have to allow it to go through in the permissions in your setup to give this app control of your do not disturb settings.
Right.
But so let's see. So D&D is off right now, right?
So Flip, I do have permission there. Okay, so I feel like I'm seeing a little D&D icon.
Well, that's there's a notification icon that appears. Yeah, that just tells you to flip the phone screen to enable D&D, and you can dismiss that notification. You don't necessarily need that. You can, if you swipe down, you can say stop or hide the notification. So
but I want it running because then it'll actually do it. Okay, so my do not disturb is right there. It is off.
It's off. All right,
we'll go ahead and turn it upside down, and hopefully it'll do something. Now let's watch.
5 seconds. It should vibrate or make a sound.
As the phone just sits there. The most exciting app.
I feel like it's been 5 seconds.
It's maybe been 5. I didn't feel anything, and I didn't hear anything, so I'm a little worried.
Is the vibration on the phone?
5 seconds after flip. Is it?
Oh, wait, no, the phone's silent.
Is that the difference?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
No. Go up in your notification shade. Oh, wait.
I know, but I need to turn that.
Sorry.
You're on vibrate. Yeah, put it on. Hit that. So.
Okay. All right.
There you go.
Okay. So let's see here. We'll do ringtone. We'll just boost all this dang stuff.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, just up.
Let's do it.
Okay. And to prove do not disturb is off. Okay.
Yep.
I want this to work. Here we go. Go ahead and take a look at all the finger smudges on my phone.
Stocks and spray.
Huh? Yeah? Come on, give me a note.
Will it ever go after the boar?
Give me a sound. Come on, give me a sound. Anything. Prove to me that you're working. And I don't know. Because it's still off.
Worked on mine. Hit the little button in the lower right, the action button. Hit that.
Now it says.
Did you do anything there?
Now it says do not disturb turned on.
All right, so it can do it. It works for mine. I'm going to blame the note.
I'm thinking there's something in the note that is,
Okay.
Because doesn't the note already have like a flip to something enabled?
I don't know if it does.
I'm pretty sure it does. It's Samsung.
Yeah. I mean, the hard thing is like how if it's only on do not disturb when it's upside down, then how do you actually pick it up and prove that?
Yeah, exactly. If a tree gets set to do not disturb in the forest.
Yes.
Is it really?
You'll never know. We'll never know if it worked, but it might work for you.
There you go. Flip D&D. There you go. If your phone doesn't have it, some phones have it as well, as does the Pixels. But if you want it, it's a nice app that will do it. It's free in the Google Play Store. Give it a shot. Why not? Flip D&D. There you go.
It works on Ron's. You have the OnePlus 7 Pro, right, Ron?
It works on OnePlus 7. I tested it earlier, and I just did it just now, and it worked. So
I love that feature, by the way, and I actually use it a lot on my Pixel.
That explains why I don't hear from you for hours.
That's true. Yes.
It's okay. I respect it.
Down.
I respect your boundaries.
My phone is face down in the dirt. That's why. All right. David, you are up next. I have yours installed. Tell us about it.
Okay, so this is, if you've recently updated Spotify and you use Spotify's basically playback control widget, you've noticed that's not a thing anymore. I got rid of it. So there's a new app out, and I believe it's called Spot Widget. Is that right?
Yep.
Yes. Trying to remember the name of the app I suggested. It adds back a Spotify widget. So you have, play, pause, track skip controls, and, shows what track you're currently playing. It is $2. But I think if this is something you were using or would like, because quite honestly, Spotify is one of the most unreliable applications on the planet in terms of like keeping in memory what you're doing. This is, something probably worth money to you if you want to stick this on a home screen. So on the Play Store, it does have terrible reviews right now. But that's because the developer had an issue where it wasn't updating the status of Spotify right. And he says as of the newest update 5 days ago, everything should be working okay. So try it out. If you really do want a Spotify widget on your phone, or I guess people still have tablets. Let's say phones, though. This is an application that I think it's the only one doing this right now. I'm sure there will be others eventually, but this one looks well designed. It's very simple, no frills, and I think if you were really sad the Spotify widget went away on Android, now you can get it back.
And Spotify has mentioned that aren't they working on bringing it back at some point? But
we talked about it last week that due to popular demand they're going to bring it back, but it hasn't rolled out.
It hasn't happened yet. Yeah, totally.
We don't know when it will. So yeah.
And who the heck knows?
Yeah, we'll see. Spotify takes a really long time to roll out features.
Yeah.
So could be a while.
Yeah. Awesome. That is Spot Widget, $1.99, and you can see here there's the two different formats. Different styles between the two. Similar, but definitely a little bit different. So, and then I think, it takes you right through. Cool. All right, Flo, tell us about your app.
All right.
I know there's a story behind this. I saw it on Twitter.
There's always a story.
Yes. Well, okay. Here's my story. I have a narrative. So, yesterday on Twitter, I remarked about how I think Samsung Health is a better fitness app than Google Fit. So much so that actually, Jason and I have stopped using that app that you brought to the arena several weeks back, Health Sync.
Oh, yes.
And I'm like over it because things were just not happening in Google Fit. And I have a Samsung Galaxy Active. So it made sense that I would use Samsung Health.
Yeah.
However, as I dove more into Samsung Health, I realized that it actually is a superior fitness tracking app to Google Fit in a myriad of ways, mostly in the variety of tracking that it offers, which in in my world I need. Mm-hmm. I need
variety.
So let's not look at how I did today, because today I worked a lot. So I sat at my computer. So don't judge me.
No shame.
Listen.
It's okay.
Yeah. Hashtag everyone's got to work for a living.
Absolutely.
So this is the Samsung Health main page. It is stark white, which is kind of a bummer. I wish there was like a dark mode available for this. Who knows? Maybe that'll come soon. But usually I have my watch on and all of this syncs up lovely. And if I don't have my watch on, I like the fact that it's still using my phone to calculate. And this is what I really like. I check on this in the morning. Is this too bright? Let me break down just a bit so you guys can actually see what I'm talking about. There we go. So I check on this in the morning, and it tracks my sleep, not based, because I don't like to wear the watch at night. I want to be free when I'm sleeping. And so this basically tracks basically when I put the phone down and when I picked it up again. And so I can still kind of like track my sleep without fully tracking it, which I like because I don't need all those other metrics. This one, it thought I was sleeping because the phone's been down the entire time we were doing the show. But I'm not going to record it, so it's not going to matter. And of course, the nice thing about Health is the trends. I especially like when I do an exercise. So I went hiking, kind of, the other day. Now this is going to show you where I'm hiking. So there we go. Location info. But here it shows how long I hiked for, my speed, my heart rate, how often I was in the vigorous heart rate, how, the pace that I kept, distance, calories. All of this is aggregated from info that I put in at the beginning of when I first launched the app. So, you put in your initial weight and like your goals and all that stuff. You can add images if you want. Then you can export it if you want to import it into other fitness files, or perhaps you want to archive it, which is really nice and helpful. There is just varying tabs, which I like the breakdown of activity, and I found Samsung Health to be more accurate in terms of like calorie counting, in terms of heart rate monitoring than Google Fit. And the thing is, you don't need to have a Galaxy Active or any of the Samsung watches to make this work. But of course, I suggest it to really get use out of it. But if you're just having your phone on you and that's how you're tracking things, I still think it's a better app just because of the features that it offers. The fact that you can manually record things, it's a much smoother experience than I felt it was on Google Fit. There is a together function, which Jason and I used once. And just so everybody knows, he beat me to it. Whatever it was.
Was it we challenged each other?
Yeah. It was like a challenge. You challenged me in how much I could walk. And like, listen, I have a lot of work to do. So if you have friends around, you can hook them up with this. But if you don't have friends on Samsung Health, that's okay. I use Strava. So what I do is, and I hope there's no information in here that's going to show up. Turning off marketing information. So what I do is I go into connected services and I connect Strava. That's where my friends are. And part of the thing I didn't like about Google Fit was the fact that I didn't have any buddies in there that I could like cheer on. I didn't have anybody cheering me on. And I like Strava because not only does it sync hiking, it syncs swimming, it syncs my yoga classes that I take, and I like that I'm getting kudos from my friends on there who are all avid mountain bikers and definitely not doing what I'm doing. But you know what? Friends are there to support you through your endeavors. So I like that I can do that through this. I don't like to use Strava, the app, just because it's not honestly so good on the Galaxy Active, but also just it doesn't offer the kind of readouts that I get from Samsung Health. And there are varying features, like you can allow data permissions. You can download your data. If you do decide that you want to sync this stuff up with, I am so wonderful explaining this. If you decide that you do want to sync this up with other apps, you can do that through an app like Health Sync, which Jason mentioned a couple of weeks ago, and set that up. There are ways to do this. I wish the Samsung Health would natively connect with Google Fit just so that I can keep aggregating that data. But for now, this is my main fitness app. I like that it manually tracks things that I'm not tracking all the time. And I just found it to be a much better fitness app than Google Fit overall. So.
Yeah. I agree. When I was using it, I think I was using it because I was doing the watch review.
Yes, you were.
And I actually really liked it. I liked the way it synced across. I liked how it presents data. Yeah, good stuff. Samsung Health. And you probably, if you have a Samsung phone, you probably already have it installed.
And it doesn't just work on Samsung phones. It works
Does the app work on other phones as well?
I'm using it on my phone, on Pixels.
Oh yeah, I guess you are. Okay. Well, that makes sense because they would want you to be able to use it with the Samsung watches.
Well, back in the day, they made it a little harder.
Yeah,
but
that's true. That makes sense now, maybe more than ever. So, Samsung Health.
So before you go to voting, a quick update. Uncle Bick in the chat room installed Flip D&D and says that it works. As soon as you pick the phone back up, it can tell and turns D&D off again.
Oh, okay.
So that's happening. Awesome. He says, I covered the cameras when I slid it off the table. It could use the notifications and could see the notification turned on and then covered the cams and turned it off D&D. So I don't know why it wasn't making the sound or vibrating, but it appears that it does work. So there you go.
Awesome. Good.
Flip D&D.
Good asterisk. Twit.to/AAA poll 437 is where you'll go to place your vote for your favorite app this week. Is it Vivaldi browser beta by the fine makers of Opera, by the way, when Opera was bought by the Chinese
company
that came in. That same team broke off and produced Vivaldi. So that's the background there. Vivaldi, Flip D&D, Samsung Health, Spot Widget. Those are your choices. Place your vote and we'll check in on it next week. And Victor is circling Flip D&D.
Victor
There
does
he
not want to be
is.
bothered.
With the caveat if it works.
It works.
If it doesn't work, I'm taking it back next week. I'm just kidding.
All right, and that's twit.to/AAA poll 437. That is it for this week. Went a little bit long. Apologies about that, David. But really appreciate you hopping on and sacrificing your sleep, because I know you've been up more than you've been asleep over the past couple of days.
Who are you?
Exactly. AndroidPolice.com. And I hear that Android Police is hiring?
We are. I'm hesitant almost to say we are at this point because I've still got 6 interviews to run this week. But if you're somebody who is either a freelance writer or wants to get into freelance writing about technology, you can send your resume and a writing sample, please, to David@AndroidPolice.com or jobs@AndroidPolice.com. We'll look at it either way. We're hiring. I can barely say words. We're hiring for freelance writers at the site right now. We're also looking for a deputy news editor if you're an experienced person in digital publication looking for a full-time position. So, that's stuff we're doing. And you can also, I think I do the thing where I say I'm on Twitter. It's RDRV3 if you want to listen to me incoherently ramble about cars.
And other things.
I love it when
Yeah,
David
other
rants
things,
about
too.
cars.
That's my favorite Talking Heads album.
Rant about cars?
If you're a Talking Heads fan, you got the joke. Anyway.
No.
That's my Skyrim joke.
Yes, right. We've discovered Ron's Skyrim.
It's Talking Heads jokes.
David.
They have an album called More Songs About Buildings and Food, and so that's what I was drawing that to. Anyways, carry on. It's not funny if they explain it.
It's funny
Wah, wah.
because David, always appreciate you hopping on. Thank you for taking time with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Ron, other than the Talking Heads, what do you talk about?
I just don't talk about me. Just go listen to the Talking Heads. Seriously, no. Follow me on Twitter at RonXO and on Instagram at RonXO. And you can go subscribe to Finale Podcast at finalepodcast.com, where we talk about TV finales, TV show series finales. And keep an eye out on Scorebit.io, my fun new startup about pinball. So check that out.
Check that out. There it is.
Yeah, nothing new to share. It's all still happening, but there it is.
Every time I see this page, it makes me want to play pinball.
It makes me want to refresh the website, but yeah.
You need to get a nice carousel going on.
Yeah.
Flo, what about you? What you got going on?
What about me?
What about Flo?
What about Flo? I am taking on some new subject matter in the coming weeks, working on that right now behind the scenes. Stay tuned for that. You can follow along with me at Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, and on Twitch at OThatFlow. Also, I have a website, FlorenceIon.com, also known as the Flow Feed, where I post my Tweet app reviews. I post what I've been working on, what's published from me, and any life updates that I may. It's my blog. It's the Flow Feed. So if you want to hop over there, you can. And stay tuned because I will be coming back to streaming. I just, life.
I hear you. Life. You know what we all have in common? Life. It's true. Victor has life in common with all of us as well. Thank you, Victor.
Yeah, I have that in common too.
Speaking of life, I have to go through all these Pokemon cards he gave me.
Holy cow. Well, then we better wrap this up because we are behind.
It's a lot of energy cards.
Thanks also to Burke and Jeff for helping out here in the studio. You can find me all over the Twit network. Tomorrow, actually, I'm doing This Week in Google in Leo's absence. So I am looking forward to that. Lots of Android news that we can figure out how to talk about around all the Apple news. I think we can make it work. But that is it for this week. This podcast publishes every Tuesday evening. So if you want to subscribe, if you want to have this podcast delivered to you and you don't even have to think about it, subscribe to it in your favorite podcatcher, Pocket Cast, whatever it happens to be. Subscribe at twit.tv/AAA. There you're going to find all the links to every way that you can find this show. Also, all of our audio and video podcast episodes are published there, so you can play them directly from the site. But really, you just want to subscribe. Twit.tv/AAA. If you want to be part of the show, leave us a voicemail, 347-SHOW-AAA. Send us emails at AAA@twit.tv. And finally, you can follow twit.tv on the socials, because we're doing a lot of things, doing a lot more like behind the scenes stuff. And I would recommend checking it out on Instagram. Just search for twit.tv.
It's really good.
And we're kind of playing around with some stuff.
It's been really good.
It's been fun.
I really just want to kudos. It's been really good.
It's taken some getting used to, like getting done with the show and then looking up and suddenly there's a smartphone in my face saying, so what'd you talk about? It's like, it takes a little getting used to.
It's good.
But it's a lot of fun.
It's very good.
It's cool doing the behind the scenes stuff. But that is it for this week. We'll see y'all next week on another episode of All About Android. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.